Are you a listophile? Are you a list fanatic? Do you like making lists? Yes, I guess we all are. We use lists for shopping lists, to-do lists, and New Year's resolutions. Lists are in our life all around. But today I'm going to talk about lists in the heritage context.
This is Design Sciences.
List in the dictionary definition, it's consecutive items, related items, list one under the other, but it has another meaning, which means a catalog. And in the heritage field, we use both of the words interchangeably. Lists come in the most famous version, the UNESCO World Heritage lists, intangible cultural heritage lists, but there are also catalogs and inventories that we are using in the heritage field to make heritage places recognized so that they can be protected and presented to future generations. Coming to what heritage lists can function is that heritage lists categorizes a complex, overwhelming number of buildings, sites, and cultural landscapes into a form so that we can see them better, understand their meaning better. Lists pop up in literary works and in Sumerian cuneiform tablets, for example, we come across with lists. We also come across in Shakespeare's Hamlet. So lists are predominant in our literary life, but Professor Eva von Konsten from University of Freiburg says that as a literary form, lists are a bit tedious to read because they don't have a narrative aspect. And when we come to a heritage context, we find lists in the form of catalogs, in the form of inventories, but we also form listed items one under the other one, as in the form of UNESCO World Heritage List. Intangible cultural heritage list. So these two are well-known international lists in the heritage context. Encountering lists in heritage may provide an order to complex and overwhelming aspects, and it also enables categorization of different forms of heritage, and it also helps us remember these places and sites. In the heritage world, we've used these two words interchangeably, so sometimes lists and sometimes inventories are used, but there is a nuanced difference between the two. Lists usually is a more distant standing compared to inventories, because inventories have a relation with possession and ownership. So in history, when we look at, for example, before the French Revolution, we find identification of objects and buildings in the form of catalogs, which represented the buildings of the church and noble families. However, after the French Revolution, we find these inventories moving into lists, and these lists are there to tell the general public what needs to be protected and so on. So there is a nuanced difference between the two. The international dimension to this listing process arrived in 1945 after the Second World War with the establishment of UNESCO, and UNESCO came with an idea to present the heritage of humanity under a World Heritage program. And this program started its listing process in 1978 with 10 sites, which nowadays evolved into 1,200 sites. And this big list has several complexities. First, the listing process is criticized so much with being politicized, not being able to represent the entire humanity. Another criticism is that it focuses on a concept which is so abstract, called outstanding universal value. But in addition to these criticisms, I have a further criticism, which is these lists under UNESCO program are dividing heritage into different domains, such as the World Heritage Program is on natural and cultural heritage, but there is another convention focusing on intangible cultural heritage. There is another program on natural sites called Man and Biosphere program. So these are dividing and fragmentizing the heritage domain into several different compartments. And this is creating a problem in the representation, protection, and safeguarding of these places. We can give you an example from the World Heritage webpage. For example, this website presents these heritage sites devoid of people. The people are not present in these imageries. And they also represent these sites in their sterile form. They don't really reflect the reality. In reality, these places are damaged, threatened, and there are communities caring for them. But in none of these images we see this clearly. So World Heritage webpage in a way conceals the reality from people. And against this, I have a proposition. I propose that we combine these different domains of heritage again back into one, placing human in nature and humans creation, such as buildings and landscapes and objects and crafts and cultural practices into one, so that we stop this fragmentation and give back these lists back to humans, back to who have created these places and cultural practices back to itself. And by doing so, I propose a framework, and the framework is called Our World Heritage, which puts people at the center, which enables enhancement of unification of cultural heritage domain into one, and therefore reflects the common heritage of humanity created by people.
Universiteit Antwerpen. Bepaal mee de toekomst.